So, you want to know how to play the hot mechanic mommy from Atlantis. Gadget is a mid lane mage, and while you can play her in other lanes, you're probably going to have a really hard time doing so. Your best bet to play her out of mid lane is playing support, and you might be able to pull that off if you play carefully. She is killed very easily and only has one movement option. Gadget is best played very carefully. You really want to be clearing waves, not getting ganked, and building your passive stacks. Gadget is super strong in team fights and has crazy area denial and punishment capability, but not too many ways out of bad positioning. So, positioning is key on this character. Playing carefully and waiting till the late game. This is a character that only gets better the longer the game gets because you're going to be building those stacks and you're going to be doing more and more damage. And these are permanent stacks. So let's go over her kit. First of all, I'm just going to put it on the screen. I'm not going to list it out. These are her current stats for 1.4. These may change. So, just keep that in mind. Try and check Omega City or like I don't think the predecessor website is actually up to date. It actually has her old abilities listed. So I wouldn't really count on that. Let's go over her kit. Her basic is Spark. It's a ranged basic attack that does shit physical damage, doesn't do any magical damage. You can try and build Prophecy with this that adds magical damage to your attack. It it kind of helps. It can help. Here's a quick video on the damage difference, but it's not doing much. I would say just completely avoid this. And prophecy, again, if you want to build it, sure, but prophecy is really better on people that care about your basic attack and are magical, like Shinbi. That's probably where you're going to get better use out of this. I would not use prophecy on this character. So let's talk. So her alternate is Seek and Destroy. Now, Seek and Destroy is an airborne droid that, you can read the thing on screen. I'm putting it on screen. It basically slows your target and does damage. And then if an enemy walks within it, it'll track them. So, just keep that in mind. Her primary ability is her Sticky Mine. That's just a drone. It has a smaller circle on the inside. That's like the targeting area, so like an enemy needs to walk within that smaller circle, but the damage area is bigger. Her secondary ability is her secured gate. This is one of her strongest abilities in my opinion. This really has a lot of potential. So in this new patch, you can actually throw this forward. It travels. You can choose where it goes. This is both a movement ability and a movement denial ability for the enemy team. So if you play this right, you can get yourself and your team out of sticky situations or initiate as a team or by yourself. Now her ult, it's just a big bubble that does magical damage. You put it down and it does magical damage and grows over 6 seconds. So use this on Fang or Prime or to stop the enemy from pushing you. That's it. Now her passive. This is really where Gadget shines. Now all of that other stuff in her kit, that's good, but with this passive, this makes her insane. This is this makes it so it's nearly impossible to lose late game if you're building her stacks correctly. This is a lot like Sevarog, where it's once you get these stacks, they aren't going away, and it's just insane. It's basically when you get to 500 stacks, it's almost like having an Oblivion Crown, just an extra one. It gives an insane amount of magical power. So let's just go over it. So field data accumulation. Gadget acquires a stack of FDA that permanently grants one magical power for every 5 stacks gained. Minions and monsters grant 1 stack. Damaging an enemy hero with abilities grants 3. Once per activation, and takedowns grant 20. This is crazy. This is wild. Now, you should be playing her very carefully. Until you're at 300 stacks, you should be very careful because she's not going to be doing a lot. It's something. It's wild. It's you basically get a free item for just having her for picking her. But until 200 stacks, your abilities aren't really going to be doing great. You really want to play safe. I cannot stress this enough. As Gadget, you should only be initiating into team fights. Everything else, you should just be denying pushes or helping out if your teammates are getting ganked. You just want to be building stacks or playing safe until the end game. Like her in team fights is where she shines, and you should not be taking on anything besides that. And for all the players who are platinum or above, above my skill level, then why are you watching this video? You should already know how to play her. But yeah, if I'm telling people how to play them wrong, then this got me to gold. So it's doing something right. Now, these are things that her kit likes. Her kit really likes haste and magical power. Haste is going to allow you to build those stacks faster, and magical power is obvious. It's just, it just makes you more powerful. Now, I have noticed I struggle with mana with her, so picking a mana solution like Azure Core is probably going to be the way to go. You really need that mana. That's probably going to be the play. I have noticed that you really want to be like, she's a mage. She needs a pool. I would consider buying the upgraded health potion earlier on, as even as like your first pick, just to help build those stacks as fast as possible. Now let's just go over like the general like what a game looks like playing Gadget. So she's super squishy and needs mana. Early game, you just play it careful. Last hit minions. Don't go crazy. Don't chase. Don't try. Just like even if they're super low health, try and get it with that drone. I'll be going over like easy tips on like how to land her abilities because as a new player you might not know. Now in the mid game, you again play slow. Just you if you're engaging, just engage in team fights. You're probably not going to be winning any 1v1s. I'd be very surprised if you do. But try and set up for ganks. Late game, follow your team and just help them gank. You'll win if you do this. Like just don't be the first to push without a way out, which is your gate. So if you have your gate, you can be a little bit, if you have all your abilities up, you have a lot of area denial, so like you can try and do a 1v1, but it's tough. It's especially if they're building any sort of like magical resistance, it's hard. Her playstyle is very pokey. You're gonna want to be doing like damage over that distance, over that crazy distance that you can throw that drone, that you can throw that slow. You want to be playing at the edge of your abilities if you can, because your options when they're close is very limited. So again, trying to get people really low health and then setting those ganks up, setting those moments up where you can then like either chase them down if that's the play. Don't always chase them down. That may not be the play. Making it easy for the rest of your team to be able to gank mid or do Fang whenever you guys want to, do Orb. Keeping that other mid laner at low health and keeping your stacks up is a priority. So you're definitely gonna want to. Let's talk a little bit items. So I said haste, magical power, mana. You're always gonna want to build like Costigo on this person. Like you're if you're building magical power, you want a good Costiga. Um, so let's go over her landing her abilities. So first of all, if you guys don't know, like go into your settings and change it to the abilities to like use on release of the button. That's what I use. I find that really easy. So that way, if I want to like set things up, if I want to cancel things, I have that option. But it activates so much quicker. I don't need to confirm anything. It just confirms by itself by letting go of the button. Now to land her abilities, I find the best way to like aim her stuff is to aim at the ground where I want it to go. Um, if you kind of aim into nothing, it becomes a little bit harder. So, like, let's say you're facing, someone who's quick, Morgosh using her little bug thing, like, aim at her feet maybe like a half second before where she's gonna go. That half second to a full second before where she's gonna go. That's gonna give you your best odds of like actually landing your abilities at a longer range. Obviously, you can just throw it at your feet, and if you're in a like close engagement, and then like hit him with that security gate and like run away, that's definitely an option too. So now let's just go into combos. Here's things I like to do if I get close. Um, if someone's like running me down, or if I got a bunch of people, I'll use that security gate and I'll just throw it at them, and that they can't do anything. And then you throw your slow and then your mine. You'll build stacks and you'll be able to most likely get away from whatever the fuck they're doing. Now let's go over like picks, counter picks, all that stuff. Early game, like the only people you're really gonna maybe struggle against is Gideon, Howitzer, Bellica, Fate, and Morgesh. But if you just play, like you can see in this gameplay, I'm facing a Morgesh. If your positioning isn't off, if you're not overextended, it's really hard for them to get kills on you. As for like the items that you build, like the crest, I always just go stasis. It's just so helpful. I'm using it against this Morgesh, and I save myself here. Like, if you can work time flux, go for it. If with stasis you live alts, you live hard CC. It's a get out of jail free card. So why not get out of jail? So that's kind of how to play Gadget. That's quick, simple, easy. Fucking don't chase.